This is the Louie T Network. Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, Doorman? Louie T, welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 11 in the National Football League. Thursday night football, AFC East, family business. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. Miami Dolphins at home, taking on the Buffalo Bills. Both teams coming into the game at 5-4. Both teams coming off heartbreaking losses. This one was going to be epic. And there's not many times I get excited about AFC East football. Just not that it doesn't move me. This isn't AFC South football, but AFC East football, unless the Patriots are involved, I'm normally indifferent. Hey, hope it's a good game. Really don't think much is going to come of it, unless the Patriots are involved. But this was one I was looking forward to. I mean, the Bills let one slip through their fingers last week in Week 10 versus the Chiefs. They had to be steaming after that one. You look at the Dolphins, second time they've lost, and I mentioned this on the Week 10 breakdown of their game versus Detroit. Second time they have fallen in the latter stages of the game to an NFC North opponent. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers got them last second in South Beach. And now they lose to the Lions in the late stages of that game. So they're lamenting that loss, and nothing to be ashamed of if you're the Dolphins on the road in Detroit, number one defense in the league. You had opportunities, you didn't get it done. You pick yourself up, you dust yourself off. But for the Bills, you're at home, you got this game, you've dominated for the most part, and you can't get the football in the end zone, and so you lose. That's pretty frustrating. And not to mention your coach doesn't do you any favors at the end of the game with what I like to think was a pretty bad choice to elect to go for it on fourth down and bypass the field goal. So this was a big game because, again, I've talked about this, and, you know, I'm not huge on using the P word. We're still at the point where the P word is forbidden, but these are two teams that are going to factor into the equation at the end of the season when we start using the P word and talking playoffs. Don't know if either one of these teams are going to make it to the playoffs, but they're going to be in the discussion. They're going to be in that category that says in the playoffs or in the hunt. They're going to be in that playoff picture when it's all said and done. So these are teams jockeying for positioning right now, and this is a huge game. Dolphins can't afford to lose this one as they've already lost to Buffalo earlier in the season in Buffalo. So you got to have this one. And the Bills have had a lot of success over this Miami Dolphins football team over the last couple of years. So if you're the Dolphins, this is not only a huge game in the whole framework of the season and trying to get your record to 6-4 in the season and trying to better your status within the AFC conference. This is also huge for your psyche. This is huge for the AFC East and all of the things that comes with beating a team in your division. So huge game for both teams involved. Let's jump into the breakdown as this is the Thursday night showcase. Dolphins start the game with an opening drive consisting of 14 plays, 68 yards, consuming 8 minutes and 20 seconds of the first quarter clock, leading to a 38-yard field goal. It's 3-0 Dolphins. And it was funny because watching this game, the broadcast team of Sims and Jim Nantz kept referring to the fact that these two teams struggle in the red zone. And I know about the struggles of these teams in the red zone. Not so much Miami as much as Buffalo. I've seen Buffalo. I've made mention of Buffalo struggling in the red zone. I hadn't really noticed that Miami struggled to get the football in the end zone. It was apparent to me against Jacksonville that they struggled to get the football in the end zone, that game was a lot closer than it should have been because they couldn't sustain offense. And, you know, but I watched them against Chicago. They dominated that game. They got the ball in the end zone. I watched them against San Diego. They put up 37 en route to a 37-0 victory. I didn't see a team struggling to put the football in the end zone. So it was kind of alarming to me that the Dolphins were, second or third on that list of teams struggling to get in the end zone when in the red zone. Bills didn't surprise me at all, but they talked about that early on in the telecast, and they kept referring to it. They kept showing the graphic. They kept talking about the struggles of these teams in the red zone. And as fate would have it, these teams struggled in the red zone. It's almost like it was on cue. And so you have a drive that lasts almost 9 minutes, and you come away with a field goal. That says something about your inability to get the football in the end zone. Bills respond with an eerily similar drive. 13 plays, 67 yards, leads to a 33-yard field goal. So they do the exact same thing the Dolphins do, which is put together a long, methodical march, but have to settle for a field goal because they get in the red zone and they can't put it in. So it's funny because they talked about it all telecast long, yet that's what these teams, and it's funny because we talk about stereotypes sometimes in society, and the reason why they're stereotypes is because a lot of times they're true. Well, this was a situation where the stats don't lie. You see a team, they struggle, and then boom, you see them get in the red zone and they struggle to get in the end zone. I just found it very fascinating and very funny at the same time that these teams lived up to the billing of teams that can't get into the end zone. It's 3-3 early in this game. I thought 7-11 was huge. I thought he was huge against Kansas City. And this is a guy that he's grown on me. And I love watching 7-11 because you can tell the guy plays hard. He's a two-way player. And when I say that, I mean he's giving it everything he's got on special teams. He's the first guy down there. He's making tackles. He's down in punts. And then he's the same guy in the slot on third down that you're getting the football to. So 7-11, Chris Hogan has come a long way in this league, and it's good to see a guy work that hard and be rewarded for his hard work. So it's 3-3 in this game as we head to the second quarter. Dolphins come right back with a beautiful drive, spearheaded by a 33-yard Lamar Miller run. And I don't think a lot of people know how well Lamar Miller is playing this season. This guy's quietly, don't tell nobody that Lamar Miller is putting together one heck of a season for this Dolphins football team. By far his best season as a Miami Dolphins. Hell, his best season as a professional. And so he's getting it done, man. And you heard during the telecast, highest yard per carry average in the league. And he's getting it done this year. I don't think a lot of people understand this guy's playing some good football in Miami is Lamar Miller. But after that 33-yard run, Ryan Tannehill is careless. You want me to tell you what annoyed me on this play? Is the fact that Tannehill actually looked back to make sure there was no one behind him. And of course, I know that he didn't see anybody. And when you have a helmet on, if you've never had a helmet on, the one thing I can't stand about an NFL helmet, and there's nothing you can do about it, is that it cuts off your peripheral vision. If you've ever had one on, if you try to look around, this portion of your helmet is, of course, where, everything is set up where the face mask connects to the rest of the helmet. And so you can't see right here. It's almost like a blind spot when you're driving. And so he looked back, and I was upset because I'm like, okay, I know he sees that defender. He sees Jerry Hughes behind him because he just looked back. So he knows someone's coming, so he's not going to fumble this football. Is he? Is he? No. He is going to fumble this football because he doesn't see Jerry Hughes, which I thought he did because he took a gander, he took a look, and he looked back, oh, somebody's coming, I'll make sure I'm careful. But he still coughs it up. And that was a huge play at the time because both teams were trading field goals and they were putting together long drives, and it was the Dolphins' turn to put together a nice drive and get a field goal. And they bypassed their opportunity to get the field goal because they fumbled the football in the red zone. Another red zone mistake by these teams because in this league, you're judged, and I say this all the time, field goals don't win games, touchdowns. So you know the mantra, you know the motto, you know how it goes in this league. And you're judged in the red zone by your ability to get in the end zone. And if you can't get in the end zone, then it's not a wasted trip if you come away with 3, but it's a wasted opportunity when you come away with 3. They don't get anything here. So this is a double whammy. It's wasted opportunity and it's really wasted trip to the red zone. You don't get anything. So that was a huge play. Hit from behind by Jerry Hughes. Football comes out, scooped up by the Bills. And so Bills have to feel good about the opportunity they've just created for themselves. And this is a very, very aggressive Bills defense that forces turnovers. So this is nothing new. If you've been watching the Bills, this is what they do. They get after the quarterback. You heard during the telecast, leads the league in sacks. They were one of the best teams at getting after the quarterback last year. They're picking right up where they left off. This is a team that get after the quarterback. They did it in this game. They sacked Tannehill 5 times in this game, and Jerry Hughes was able to put him down and get the football out. Turnover, and a huge one at that early in this game. Off the fumble, 16 plays, 84-yard drive for the Bills as it stalls out at the 3-yard line again. Buffalo living up to the billing of worst team in the red zone offensively from a statistical standpoint of getting in the end zone. Again, you gotta find ways to get in the end zone in this league. You have to. And just imagine if Buffalo scores touchdowns last week against Kansas City. Just one touchdown and they win that game in the red zone. But they came up empty every single time in terms of a touchdown. They lose the game. You gotta score touchdowns in this league. They get all, and this was a beautiful drive. 16 plays, 84 yards. Beautiful drive. And they get all the way down to the 6-yard line on 3rd down. This is what I feel like is going to be the downfall of the Bills. I talked about Kyle Orton and him being a very solid quarterback, a veteran presence that's a calming influence on this team and on this offense. But with Kyle Orton, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a solid player that won't make a lot of difference-making plays. I'll give you an example. On this possession, on this 3rd down that I'm referencing, he steps up in the pocket and he starts to move towards the line of scrimmage. As he does that, he sucks the defense in. The Tony Romos, the Aaron Rodgers of the world, those guys find Robert Woods wide open in the back of the end zone, hit him with a dart. It's a touchdown. Well, Kyle Orton isn't that type of guy. He's not a playmaker. He's not a guy that when the play breaks down is going to make an extra concerted effort to make something happen. He's looking to find somewhere to get down. And so he was looking to run. He was Kyle Orton, 2 left. He's not running into the end zone. And so they collapse on him, does the defense. He gets down to the 3-yard line. You got to settle for a field goal. That was a missed opportunity. Robert Woods was wide open. I thought Chandler was even open, but you would have probably had to make a better throw to Chandler than Woods. Woods was wide open. I mean, he had his hand up. He was waving. I'm pretty sure he was upset he didn't get the football there. I would have been upset too because he was open and it should have been thrown and it should have been a touchdown. So another missed opportunity for this Bills team that settled for a field goal. It's 6-3, Buffalo out on top. Dolphins moved the football before the half. Tannehill misses 60 minutes on another deep ball. I talked about this last week against Detroit. I talked about it all last season. The inability for Ryan Tannehill to hook up with Mike Wallace on the deep ball. You got to hit 60 minutes on the deep ball. If you're not hitting 60 minutes on the deep ball, then you're not maximizing the talent that is Michael Wallace. So feel like they're leaving a lot of points on the table on the Dolphins because of the inability of Tannehill to hit him on his deep ball. He was going to outrun these 2 Bill defenders. I mean, had Tannehill laid this ball out over the middle of the field and allowed him to run under it, Mike Wallace was going to outrun these defenders and get to that football, and he didn't give him a chance. And so I thought that was a missed opportunity on a deep ball. Then he almost throws an interception to Duke Williams. It went right through his hands. I don't know how he dropped that one. I think it was a penalty on the play either way, but if you're Duke Williams, you got to catch the football, man. I mean, you get an opportunity to make a play. You're on the road. That was the difference between them winning the game and losing the game last year in this same game. And Nikel Roby picks that pass off, takes it to the house. You know, Bills actually end up winning in Miami last year. You got to make plays when they're there to be made. So I thought that was a bad drop and a bad omen of things to come from this Bills team, just not taking advantage of opportunities in this game. But then Brandon Gibson is wide open in the end zone, and this is just Ryan Tannehill in general. He just doesn't throw the deep ball well, period. I mean, he's on the move. He gets out of the pocket. He lets it rip, overthrows Brandon Gibson. Now, I would not have counted. They called OPI on Brandon Gibson anyway, called him, and it was a good call. He literally shoved the defender on the ground, and so he was flagged for pass interference. So it wouldn't have mattered, but still, hit it. I want to see you hit that deep ball. And so he's not doing that right now, but it doesn't matter. It's 6-3 at the half. Neither team can find a way to get the ball in the end zone, and the Dolphins are trailing at the half 6-3. They've struggled against the Bills, man. Last 3 times they played, Bills have dominated this football team. And so it becomes a psychological edge if you're Buffalo, that you're dominating this team the way you have over the last 3 or 4 meetings. So if you're Miami, you've got to find a way to kind of curtail this whole malaise that you're in against Buffalo. You got to find a way to start scoring some points and doing some positive things against this Bills football team. Dan Carpenter adds a field goal as we enter the third quarter. It's now 9-3, Bills on top in this game. But again, settling for field goals. If you're Buffalo, you've probably outplayed the Dolphins to this point, but you don't have enough to show for it. A touchdown and the extra point, you're losing this game. I mean, that's how fine a line it is when you don't score touchdowns. In this league, that's how fine a line it is. You can dominate a football game and find yourself on the short end of the stick if you don't score touchdowns. And so I hate to beat a dead horse, but that's the way it is in this league. You gotta score touchdowns. The teams that win score touchdowns in this league. Phins respond to the field goal with a touchdown drive as Hartline gets loose for a 32-yard catch and run on a crosser. I didn't think he was going to make it to the corner, but he did, and he ran by some defenders and got up the field, made a huge play. Lamar Miller started to get going. You can see he was starting to find some lanes, and he was starting to wear on this Bills defense as the game kind of wore on. And then Brandon Gibson. I feel like when this offense is at its best, and I'm talking about the Dolphins offense, Charles Clay is a huge part of it, and so is Brandon Gibson. I feel like last year where this season started to go south was when he got injured. I thought he was a huge part of this offense, and this was his first touchdown of the season. So good to see him starting to get involved in the offense again. The more targets Tannehill has, the better this team is going to be. And so Gibson caps it off with the 7-yard touchdown grab to make it 10-9, Dolphins on top in this game. Once again, Dolphins get in the end zone. Bills haven't gotten in the end zone. That's the difference in the game right now. I mean, Bills have scored more times than the Dolphins have. Dolphins only have 2 scores in the game. Bills have 3. Difference is Miami got in the end zone. Bills haven't been able to. So Bills now trailing in the game 10-9. Phins D stands up after Eric Wood is flagged for holding. They're now pinned deep in their own territory. Jarek Odrick with a tackle for loss on a screen play. So now it's 3rd and long. You're in your own territory. You snap the football, and Cal Orton takes a drop, and he's now in the end zone. And so the pressure starts to mount. And it seemed like on 3rd downs, the Dolphins were finding ways to get pressure when it was 3rd and long. They were getting pressure all night long, especially Olivier Vernon. He was definitely getting pressure on that left side of the offensive line. So Cal Orton knew the pressure was coming, didn't want to take a sack in the end zone. He cuts it loose. Was this intentional grounding in the end zone? Look, I've seen guys get away with receivers being even further out of the play and them say, hey, no, there's a receiver in the area, let it go. And with them not throwing the flag initially, I didn't think they would have a powwow and then pull the flag out and call them for intentional grounding in the end zone, which means it's a safety. I thought that they were going to say, you know what, it's Sammy Watkins in the area, no harm, no foul. Let's go ahead and let them punt the football. But they got together, and on the replay, it does look like he was a little bit, and I think what sealed it for them was the fact that Sammy was running an in-breaking route. Now, it looked like a double move because Sammy ran in, and then he was coming back out. So I think it might have been a double move. And the fact that he was breaking in to the middle of the field as the ball was going out of bounds, it just looked bad. And I think that helped the officials make the call on the field of an intentional grounding, which made it a safety. I thought it was a huge play in the game because that's 2 points. And again, with the Bills struggling to score touchdowns, those 2 points makes it a 3-point game. So even if the Bills kick another field goal, it's only tied instead of them leading by 2 points. So that's a huge play. On the ensuing free kick, Jarvis Landry gets a solid return, but coughs it up. Yum, yum, eat them up. Give me them cookies. Yum, yum, eat them up. And so he coughs them up. He gives the cookies up, and Bills recover. Nickel Roby with a nice recovery on the sideline sets the Bills up in great field position at the Miami 39-yard line. And so if you're the Bills, here's your golden opportunity. How many more opportunities do you want in this football game? Okay? Here's an opportunity for you to take the lead, take advantage of it. If nothing else, at least tie the game up. And so Louis Delmas has an opportunity to bust this thing wide open. And he had a huge pick against Jacksonville, a pick six, when the Dolphins were struggling in that game. He got the scoring started with an 81-yard pick six in that game, and he had an opportunity to do the exact same thing here. He should have caught that, and if he would have caught it, he had a full head of steam. He was gone. And I think he started running with the football before he got the football. And you know what I like to say? You can't ball and have a ball without the football. And he tried to run and have a ball without the ball. You can't do that, man. You can't have a ball without the ball. And so, missed opportunity. And if this field goal were to go down, he would have been kicking himself because Jarvis Landry was already on the sidelines kicking himself for the turnover. And so there was an opportunity at the end of the third quarter for Louis Delmas to really make an impactful play, drops the interception. So we go to the fourth quarter, Bills with an opportunity to tie the game up after they had to settle for a field goal. Dan Carpenter, diggity Dan, cannot connect. And they were booing the draws off of Dan every time he stepped on the field. They were booing Dan Carpenter to death. And finally the boos paid off as he hooks it left on a 47-yarder. And it was barely left of the goalpost. Had this kick been from 45, it's good. So, I mean, they say this game is a game of inches. I think that kick kind of signifies that right there. And so it's still 9-12. Dolphins still ahead by 3 in this game. That missed kick, and I talk about missed field goals all the time as well. They give up field position. It's one thing, a missed kick, first of all, it deflates your football team. It gives momentum to the other team. And it also gives away field position, which might be one of the most important components of a missed field goal, because now you're giving the other team an opportunity to not only use your missed opportunity, you don't get any points, but to give them an opportunity to get some points. And so with that great field position, the Dolphins are able to move it down the field. They get the assistance of the officials once again. Bad pass interference call. I mean, it was a great play by Stephon Gilmore. He got there when the football got there. He didn't use the off arm to turn the receiver. I thought it was an excellent play. I like Phil Simms. And again, I don't agree with Phil Simms a lot of the times, but I thought Phil Simms was spot on with this one. Even in real time, it looked like a good play. And when they slowed it down, that made it an even worse call because you're like, man, there's nothing here. What did he see to make him throw the flag? I didn't like the call. And it was a huge call. That was 24 yards of free yardage. I mean, that's huge. And that was going to be third down. This was going to bring up, that deflection was going to bring up third down. And they weren't in field goal range yet. So that was a huge call because that call sets up an 8-yard JL Smooth touchdown as he is able to redeem himself for the fumble. Jarvis Landry gets in the end zone. That basically busts the game wide open. At 19-9, the Bills had struggled. And they started throwing out, Jim Nance started throwing out these crazy stats about how long it's been. It's been 133 possessions and just snaps or whatever he said. It was just basically letting you know the Bills haven't scored a touchdown in a really long time. And so the Dolphins, the way they play defense, 4th ranked defense in the league, I didn't see them getting in the end zone tonight. And they didn't. As the Dolphins tack on a late field goal to make it 22-9, they win the game with that same score. Huge win for the Dolphins at home. They snap a 3-game losing streak to this Bills football team. And in the process, also go to 6-4 on the season. These last 2 losses might have just done the Bills season in. I mean, the Bills went into the bye week at 5-3, feeling good about themselves. And they come off the bye and they really dropped the football in 2 consecutive weeks when they couldn't afford to do it against 2 teams that are going to be jockeying for positioning in the AFC playoff picture. And so I think the Bills might have sealed their fate. And they got a tough stretch through the Bills. They still got the Patriots at New England coming up. They've got a couple of other games There are some winnable dates on that schedule for the Bills, but at 5-5, I said it's going to take 10 wins in the AFC. 10-6 is going to get you in, and you're going to have to make sure you beat some teams along the way to get there. And I think the Bills may have sealed their own fate with these losses the last 2 weeks. Now they're at 5-5 on the season, and so they asked a question, a very interesting question, and this is my last question. Then we're gonna get out of here. Do you go back to E.J. Manuel now that you're at 5-5? I don't think you can do that, but I wouldn't be mad if they did. So, how do you feel? If you're a Bills fan, you're watching this, how do you feel about that? What do you think you should do with the season in the balance? You're at 5-5. I think Cal Orton still gives you the best chance to win, but they say E.J. Manuel is performing well in practice. I don't know. We'll see. For the Dolphins, huge win. I like this team a lot because they do the things that winning teams do, with the exception of the bad red zone offense. Tannehill was razor sharp once again. His passer rating was up over 100 in this game. Didn't have a lot of completions. I want to say 26 of 34, something in that neighborhood. Well over 200 yards. We're probably in the 260 neighborhood. Thought he had a very efficient football game. Didn't turn it over except for the fumble, but didn't. He could have been picked off about 3 times though. So I don't want to make it seem like he took great care of the football and didn't make any bad decisions or throws. He could have been picked off at least 3 times in this game. They just didn't catch him in this game. And so it is what it is. Dolphins get it done. And quietly, Tannehill's getting it done. Lamar Miller is getting it done. The defense is playing lights out football. And they win 22-9 at home. Huge win for this Dolphins team as they now go to 6-4 on the season. That's going to do it for this installment of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. It happens in the National Football League, whether big or small. We cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I'm just getting started in week number 11 in the National Football League. See you next time.